I'd like to start with a little bit of a recap. All the puzzle pieces that we put on the table today. We talked about the meta crisis, the interconnection of the extraction of the natural world, converting it into stuff that we buy, and in the end, it ending up as waste. All of that driven by the economic system that we created that needs to grow at all costs. And when there's not a lot of nature anymore that can be extracted, it's our attention that can still be extracted over those devices and all the intricacies. So really like this whole frame of the meta crisis, I would say, is the biggest possible perspective or largest possible lens through which we looked while designing Custodia, so that it's really a powerful response to that on many different levels. And we talked about the energy of the custodian, what it means to be a custodian, what it means to care, what it means to be of service, what it means to not just let your whole life revolve around yourself or your own family, but try to make an impact that goes beyond yourself, and an impact that is in service to life itself. And yeah, I think we felt that the more of humanity will transition into this role of custodianship, the easier it will be to come up with viable responses to the meta crisis. And if we don't do that, to me personally, the situation feels quite hopeless, because how or why should we even bring up the energy and the complexity around this whole meta crisis frame if we don't care for it? So this feels like an essential building block on the pathway towards responding to the meta crisis. We talked about planetary boundaries. We talked about how we consume much more of the natural world than Earth itself can replenish. That we are basically fueled. You brought up the very important fact of John D. Rockefeller's big gift to the world of making the extraction of oil feasible, and that powering all of our 8 billion collective lives. That we are basically served or supported by 500 billion free workers, that these reserves that were in the earth for millions of years, that will run out soon, and that leads to us having an impact or a footprint on the earth that is much greater than what the earth can sustain right now. All of that driven by rapid urbanization. We talked about intelligence and wisdom, how these two play together, how intelligence was the driving force for exceeding those planetary boundaries. Our use of technology increasing and like every piece of technology building on top of the next one, and as a result we began to conquer the whole world. I don't know who said it before, that basically human beings are, I think, Maya, was it you? The most powerful force. No, somebody else said it. I don't remember. The most powerful force on this planet, where there's no equal force that keeps that in check. So we need to be the people who keep that in check, because if we don't do that, we will exceed planetary boundaries even more, and in the end we will go extinct. And what we are invited to cultivate, to bind this incredible power to this incredible intelligence, is the wisdom to see the whole, and the wisdom to care for something beyond your own immediate gain. And at the same time, we talked about there are a lot of people who already possess these custodianship values, but they are lacking the intelligence, they are lacking the power, the influence, the entrepreneurial spirit, the technological savviness, in order to really make an impact at scale. And if we bring those together, then we can live up to what the situation asks of us. We talked about the modern Leonardo, how every child, when when it is growing up, is a genius, and we created institutions and a culture that robs them of their innate genius, of their innate capacity for bridging disciplines, bringing various fields together. And as a result, if we would sustain that into adult life, we could make Da Vinci proud and create something that is so much more than the silo efforts of I'm just working. This is what we as a group discussed a lot. Just like focus on my thing. Okay, I'm just focused on education or just on permaculture or whatever it is. We are invited to bring all of that together, and Custodia tries to be a place that brings all these worlds together, and as a result creates something that is so much more than just the sum of its parts. Yes, thank you for your involvement in these quite intense topics. There's not a lot that I can think of that is at the same time more important and all the while more challenging than that. Because if we really put all of that on the table, the first reaction is, I have no fucking clue, because it's so complex. And I think the humility that realizing that I don't know what to do inspires a deeper exploration than just like, okay, there's a certain problem, let me fix it immediately. And the predicament that we have on a global scale and then at the same time on an individual scale is quite complex and requires time, requires patience, requires the coordinated efforts of human beings who are joining forces in order to develop those responses. So I'm very happy with the day so far, and in the following we'd like to share a little bit more about how all of that informs what Custodia is and what Custodia aims to be in the future. A living experiment for an aligned humanity, we coined it, because that's really what it is I would say an incubator or a sandbox where we can explore what wants to be birthed, what wants to be responded to the meta crisis. For us as humanity, for us as a species, to step into this alignment with the thriving, not just of our species, but yeah, you can even argue about that. If we are really thriving collectively, probably not. But how can we come into alignment with all the natural world so that even our thriving is enhanced and that of other species too? The metaphor of the Florence of the 21st century was brought up today as well, in reminiscence of Leonardo becoming the Leonardo we all remember, because he was birthed into an environment that actually valued the things that he brought to the table, and as a result he could thrive because there was the network, there was the valuing of beauty, of innovation, of curiosity, of art, and that's really something we talk a lot about, a metaphor that drives Custodia. How can we think about a Florence of the 21st century? How would that look like? How would an environment look like that supported instead of suppressed the emergence of modern day Leonardos? And yeah, that's really one of the North Stars in making all the big and small decisions. What would the Florence of the 21st century do? And then things immediately are quite, okay, no, we can't do this. What else? We don't know. Let's figure it out. What would be really worth of a Florence of the 21st century? One thing is clear, that Custodia can't stay as it is right now. Even it's super nice and I love sleeping in the tent and staying with you guys here and cooking, and I love all of that. It's super nice. And at the same time, of course, that's not the end of the road. So according to British anthropologist Robin Dunbar, the maximum amount of intimate connections that we as a species, based on our brain size, can form is around 150. So we have the assumption that Custodia developing into a village of around 150 full-time residents who are really forming the core of all that, where everybody knows each other and people can really, because 150 is a number that is both intimate, where you know everybody. I think one of the biggest drawbacks of city life today is maybe you go through your whole day and you don't meet a single person. If you're not in a relationship right now or you don't have kids, you don't meet a single person you know. You just get on your scooter, go in a cafe, have breakfast, and it's like all anonymous. And 150 is still diverse enough so that children of all ages come together. Everybody has somebody to play. We have a critical amount of older people. I'm very proud of my grandma for being the only the only person above 50. Correct? No. Sorry. The only person above 80 who is here with us. And at the same time, of course, that's not ideal. And that's one of the reasons she's struggling a lot and is torn between going back to Germany and staying here. And so this image of a village, of a critical amount of full-time residents where all the age groups are present in a sufficient amount so that all the synergies can be developed is really powerful. Because even in our little setting that we have today, my grandpa passed away 4 years ago, and this period for her was like, they were married for more than 50 years. It's like probably the biggest loss that you can experience in your life. And of course, all her health and life force energy and everything went down. But then when she came to Bali with us, and she's with Leo, her great grandson, every day. And at the same time, like I have support in childcare, and the two of them, they are like a beautiful team. And I feel that all the different generations and their needs perfectly click into each other if we develop the capacity for intergenerational communication. And of course, that's different. Value systems are different, and behavior is different, and so on. But that's really the North Star for Custodian. At the same time, being open to all sorts of people coming in for retreats, for incubators, for events, and whatever. So it's definitely not this what we see a lot in the whole sphere. People being upset with the capitalist paradigm and the life out there, escaping to the woods, building a nice life just for themselves, and just leaving modern life behind because it sucks. That's definitely not the intention, but instead to build a high frequency space where we have everything we need, and at the same time can serve and can invite people for all sorts of spaces. And of course, that being fully regenerative and in alignment with the planet and so on. And that's really one of my favorite quotes by Ilya Prigogine. Small islands of coherence in a sea of chaos have the capacity to shift the entire system to a higher order. Because what we talked a lot about today was how can we globally as a species like transition into a different state, into this energy of custodianship. And for me personally, this will not take place anytime soon through 8 billion people suddenly waking up and caring for the planet. I think that's really, really, really far away. But for me, the path to change is to build those small islands of coherence that actually design systems for the rest of the population to thrive in. Where what we talked a lot about as a group, if the organic orange juice would be cheaper and more accessible than the Coke, of course, a lot of people would behave differently instantly. And designing those systems, offering those products, offering those alternatives, I think it's our task in order to have this ripple effect to change the entire system to a different playing field. And that's really I would say the encapsulation of the spirit of Custodia. And what we talked a lot about today as well was power and how the current world gets I would say not only influenced but created by a small minority of people who are the billionaires and the politicians and so on. And I like the wording of Daniel Schmachtenberger, and he calls them hyper agents, people who have an extraordinary amount of influence on their surroundings through their companies, through their parties, through their initiatives, and so on. And traditionally, those hyper agents bring two distinct qualities together that separate them from, I would say, like the normal people, or not only separate, but they excel at these two qualities, and as a result have this amount of influence. And these are two of the, that's why it's dark here, we will reveal that in a second, two of the four, I would call them archetypes of custodianship, energies that we are invited to cultivate. And the two of them traditional hyper agents are very good at are the this one I call the guardian. That's why the tent is called guardian. It's an essential component of being able to bring your ideas, your values into the world. The guardian is about physical energy, about willpower, about force, about having the energy and the courage to go for what you believe in. And on the top left, we see the genius, and the genius is living in the mental realm, and he's all about strategy and entrepreneurship and intelligence and fixing things and building things and like developing the know-how that complements the raw force of the guardian. So we could see that as head and will, and these two are two masculine archetypes. And I think we feel that a lot in the world, that the current world is very masculine driven, and not in a healthy way. And that's because these people who have the most power and influence in the world bring these two masculine archetypes together. They are not bad, they are very important, but it's just imbalanced. So the new hyper agent, in my opinion, is invited to bring a third quality to the table, and this is the heart. It's the romantic archetype. The romantic archetype is all about enjoying life and savoring beauty and connection, and living a life from this place of heart energy. And it's a deeply feminine archetype. And if we complement the power and the strategy of the guardian and the genius with this heart energy of the romantic, of course we will build a totally different world, because it's not just about doing something that will just benefit yourself or your own company or your country or whatever, but it's really about care. And it's an essential ingredient of this mix that we are invited to bring to the table in order to create a new world. And still, like of these three, there are different combinations right now in the world. Of course, we explored the combination of the guardian and the genius, the hyper agent, the billionaire just doing its thing, exploiting the workers but getting rich as a result. In the world, we see a lot of the guardian and the romantic combination. This is the traditional activist with a lot of power, heart-driven, going for their things, tying themselves to trees so that the trees are not cut and staying there for 3 weeks and so on. It's an important ingredient, and at the same time, they are mostly lacking the genius energy. They are lacking the strategy, and that's why they are like blindly going for their values, but are not able to achieve the impact at scale. And we see a lot of heart and head lacking the will. This is like the intellectual who knows how to save the world, but is not capable of actually doing it, bringing the power on the road and really, making change happen. So these three together form a really potent trio. And still, I feel that over my exploration of custodianship, a certain quality is missing, even though the three of them are quite powerful. And that's another feminine archetype. I call her the mystic. While these three, the romantic, the guardian, and the genius, they are all thriving on intensity. And they are all like, life is beautiful, the romantic says, life is beautiful, and the guardian says, okay, let's go, and the genius says, let's figure it out. We need the surrender and the trust, and and the connection with spirit that the mystic brings to the table, in order not to become too tense given the meta crisis and given the intense beauty. And this gives us a little bit of an effortlessness, I said that in our group before, of the Leonardos spirit, who, despite being all of that, who despite being the polymath that he is, he was not like, okay, now I need to hustle, to-do list, next Mona Lisa, okay, painting today, bam, get to focus. But he was really like thriving on a sense of grace and almost like playfulness, I would say. And this is what we can tap into if we are developing this quality of the mystic. So these four together form the playing field on which we as custodians are, and at the same time it's just a model, it's not complete, it's not just about these four things, but for me it's a very helpful framework in order to realize where I have developmental homeworks. And since quite a while, and different containers that we hosted, we were always working with these four and checking in, okay, for this month, for this quarter, where do I want to focus on? How would my embodied mystic look like? How would my embodied guardian look like? Knowing that if we bring all four of them to the table, not every day, not every week, but in general, in life itself, that might be the gateway to becoming who we can be. And Custodia aims to be a place where people come together who do all those integration work on all four levels, and not just enjoy the beautiful nature, or not just work on the business, or not just become super fit, or not just to meditate, but to do like all of that, because we know all of that is important. That's an interesting idea that I stumbled upon recently. Vinod Khosla is a philanthropist and billionaire, and I don't subscribe to this idea, and at the same time I think there's some truth to it. He says in order to address climate change, we just need 12 people in 12 different industries who are inventing something that is radically different right now. And these industries are like, we need a substitute for meat, we need sustainable airplane fuel, we need a couple of industries. And he says like, okay, if we address all of them with a better alternative, we can solve climate change. And of course, he's lacking the bigger meta-crisis frame. It's not just about carbon reduction and climate change, but I think a certain truth is there that if we would address these critical issues through really powerful projects, really powerful entrepreneurial endeavors, we can make a lot of impact. And of course, this requires our own embodiment work, because otherwise we cannot bring it into the world. Robindra, you picked up the book about ontological design. It's in the library, it's one of my favorites. This whole notion of how we as humans are influenced by the environment that we are in. This became really apparent over our past months here, that like we are really a different person in a different. I see that with Leo's. It's incredible. Like when he's here playing outside, like the river sound, nature, whatever. He's a different boy compared to when he's in a little room where, yeah, he and his state and his behavior gets dictated by the place in which he is right now. And I think that's the same is true for us as adults. So this is really one of the core design criteria for Custodia. How can we create a place that has the best possible custodianship impact on the people that are here? Like, for example, having no walls. Besides the toilet, but not 100% as well, there are no walls. The dance has no walls, he has no wall, and that's even the back wall is not a real wall. And I sense that if we are surrounded by walls, there are walls inside ourselves. We are limited in our thinking and our creativity. And if I try to create magic with the mountain and with the open sky and with the jungle in the front, it's different compared to just like this sitting in front of a wall. And yeah, to think that through on all dimensions, how would a place look like that not only embodied custodianship for itself in the way it was built and through the use of regenerative building materials and so on, and at the same time impact the consciousness of the people inhabiting it. So yeah, we already shared in the conversations in between that there was as little concrete used as possible for building Custodia. Only these platforms have 4 concrete pillars here in the kitchen, 1 in the center as well, 2 in the center, 3 in the center, 3 small ones. But for example, all the stairs are without concrete at all, just on screw foundations that we could remove afterwards if we move, and then it's just jungle again. And that was definitely the harder part. Everybody we asked like how to do things, they were always like, put concrete everywhere, then you're safe, that there will be no landslides, the land is super steep, don't do that. But this spirit of custodianship really demanded that we figure out a different way, even though it's difficult, because just like putting concrete everywhere was like, then I don't even want to do this project, because like I will hate it afterwards. So yeah, that was really the driving force behind all the material, all the way, all the little and big decisions, like the tents that we used are from a Danish brand, Nordisk. They are really like the sustainability leaders in regards to tents. Yeah, every big and small decision was informed by what would be not only the right thing for us, but what would be the right thing for the planet as a whole. In the way we, like everybody who will sleep here tonight, you will have a beautiful heavenly sleep. Thanks to Stefan and his team's amazing work at Hevea. All the mattresses and all the bed sheets and all the towels, they are not only beautiful but in alignment with the planet as well. And these kinds of decisions were really like the building blocks of what is Custodia now and what Custodia wants to be in the future as well. Another important pillar of that is this whole concept of the gift economy, because when we look into nature, like all the different gifts of all the different species just flow together and create magic. And there's no such thing as the tree negotiating with the mushroom. Okay, I will give you shade so that you can grow, but you need to pay me X. Here's my bank account. But it's more like, okay, everybody is contributing their gifts, and I'm really inspired by that, enabling people to contribute to Custodia in the way that is in alignment with them. So that's why, for example, there's no fixed rate for staying on site. There's more like okay, if you contribute this, then the salaries are taken care of. If you contribute that, then the whole infrastructure, like, or a portion for the infrastructure building is included. If you contribute that, then a contribution to the expansion of Custodia is included too, and so on. And really be like, okay, hey, we trust that everybody will not exploit this for their own personal gain, but sense what is the right contribution that I want to make. And it has a lot to do with trust as well. I think trust is one of the currencies of custodianship. To not just give something when you have the guarantee to get something in return, but to do the right thing and to do whatever you feel called to, and then let the chips fall. Why are we here in Bali? I think we don't need to talk about that for long. Everybody is here because they sense it's the right place. It's a magical island. Bali gifted us all so much, regardless of how long we are here. The unique culture, the unique ecology, like everything. For me, I will share more about that a little bit later, that Custodia does not aim to just be Bali, like this physical location, but a network of interconnected places. And still, I see that Bali is definitely the perfect first location for a network like this, because here everything is coming together that makes building a Custodia a lot easier than in other places and a lot more aligned. We have a beautiful network of change makers, of people who are already on their custodianship journey. Big shout out to Audrey and her team at The Punch, who are already listing many sustainable and regenerative initiatives all around the island. Here we have Toby, shout out to Toby. Behind the, sorry Stefan, behind the logo is your face. So I think the density of people who are already going on their entrepreneurial endeavors with the spirit of, let me not just do it to enrich myself, but let me do it for the well-being of the whole, is very, 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 very high. And as a result, it just makes sense to begin this journey here. This goes into the bigger picture and is an essential ingredient of really building something, because for many, many years now in all my entrepreneurial adventures, I was really driven by letting the employees participate and growing together and developing together and so on. And always it always hit the ceiling. It was always not possible in the way I envisioned. And this is a screenshot from the book Rebuild. I already recommended it to you, written by Graham Boyd. I will share a little bit more about him. And what he says, that an organization of the future that actually has the capacity to bring custodianship into the world needs to work on 3 axes at the same time. On this axis, we distinguish how human beings are treated in, okay, level 0 is I'm your boss, you do your work. If you don't do your work anymore, I will fire you and get someone else to do it. And of course, we all feel that this is not the way into the future. And if we excel with our organization, with our company, with our non-profit, NGO, whatever, down the scale all the way up to level 5, people are coming together with development as the purpose of coming together. Like, was willst du? Soll ich dich raufsetzen? Komm her. Willst du dich hier hinsetzen und zugucken? And like, if we are coming together in order to grow as the main driver, a completely different way of working together will be possible. And this gets complemented by the diagonal axis that talks about how do decisions get made. Level 0, traditional company practice is I'm your boss and I tell you what to do. Dictatorial management hierarchy. And if you don't follow that, you are fired. If we excel on this axis, and this is what I tried with all my previous endeavors, involve everybody more into decision making and let people participate and so on, all the way up to level 5, autopoietic. Autopoietic is basically how a forest works. There's no hierarchy, and all the components, from the big oak tree to the little mushroom to the moss, it just works, and nobody can explain it. It just works because all the components perfectly flow together. And if we work on these 2 axes, which I tried for many, many years, and as I said, I still hit the ceiling because I was not working on this axis, and this is the incorporation. And almost all of all the even impact-driven businesses are still a standard limited company, an LLC or a PT-PMA, or in Germany it's a GmbH. And I can tell my employees, yes, we are here to grow together. Yes, you can participate in decision making, and please involve yourself. And still, if it's my company, I can tomorrow sell it to Nestle and be rich, and you're like, and as a result, most of those impact-driven endeavors, they lack the integrity, because it's still the property of somebody. It's still my company, and I can do whatever I want with it. I can get investors, I can sell it to whomever, and all the beautiful work that we did is jeopardized. So we definitely need to work on the incorporation level as well. And of course we can go little steps like a cooperative and so on. But what we are very fascinated right now, and what we are working on for Custodia to incorporate as a level 5 Fair Shares Commons. And a Fair Shares Commons is an organization that is not the property of anybody. This is like a separate entity. Like, so when, I don't know who it was, I think it was Hero who asked me, are you the owner? I said yes, and at the same time I was like, no, I cannot be the owner of this place. This feels so wrong. It would feel the same if somebody said, so you're the owner of Lionel. No, I'm his parent. I'm not his owner, even though I brought him into reality. So Fair Shares Commons aims to, what Graham, its inventor, calls it, it aims to end the like, he grew up in South Africa during the apartheid, and he witnessed how people were property of somebody as slaves, as like, really, you are my property. And we do actually the same with companies still to this date. If you have a standard limited company, it's your property. But if it's your property, it can't be there to develop its own beautiful evolutionary purpose, because in the end it's there to make you rich. And if we want to bring really powerful responses to the meta crisis to the table in the form of organizations, I think we need to question the way we incorporate them. Custodia is brought to life by a whole array of different stakeholders, and all these stakeholders together not only make decisions, but in the end, when Custodia is thriving, benefit from that too. For example, there are staff or employees as in a traditional company. There are investors or suppliers as in a traditional company. There are residents and so on. But at the same time, important stakeholders that are left out in traditional companies are included too. For example, Mother Gaia. How can Custodia be not only a success for employees or for investors or for suppliers, but how can Custodia be a success for Gaia? How can Custodia be a success for the next 7 generations? How can Custodia be a success for the Jatiluwih village, for everybody that is involved? So that's really at the essence of the Fair Shares Commons, creating a separate entity that is brought to life by all people who care about it. And these people who care about it and contribute their time, energy, financial capital, and so on, benefit in the end from what is created. Of course, not in a way of let's all sit together in a room and talk about what we should do. Of course, that doesn't work. So that's the, in spiral dynamics terms, the green perspective of we are all equal and we all decide together. Of course, that's not working. So it's more about bringing the different competencies into the perfect roles. Oh, there was a bat, huh? It was bad, yeah. Into the perfect role, so that every, like in a forest, the mushroom doesn't try to be an oak tree. It knows I'm a mushroom and I fulfill my role. And the same is in the stakeholder setup, the intention. That's Graham, great guy. We're currently working with him to incorporate Custodia as the first organization in Asia as a Fair Shares Commons. And this brings this is the gateway to the bigger network perspective that I touched on briefly. And Graham did some experiments with, I find that super fascinating, with the power of organizations not doing just their own thing. Okay, I have my company and try to make the most amount of good in the world, but actually let's form ecosystems of organizations. So not just like this piece of Custodia tries to develop its purpose, but what if we have different organizations that together form one organism where resources flow freely, where capital is shared, where people are shared, and so on. And he did experiments of 50 identical companies, like in a standard market, competing with each other, every week when you have a startup, every week you do certain things. Either you succeed, you have the new client on board, you earn money, nice, or you do a lot of marketing work, nobody signs up, and you basically lose. And with that, this is the result. This is every single company, and in the end, after around 10 years, maybe 1 or 2 unicorns are still there who are a big success, and in the end the investor earns a lot of money, nice, the Airbnb or the Uber or whatever, and then the investors get rich, but all the other companies fail. And why is that the case? Why do 49 out of 50 companies fail after 10 years? Because they are doing just their thing. And what if we, and I find that so fascinating, what if we just share 2% of our profit every week? Just 2%. If I earn $1,000 this week, I give $20 of that into the pool for the ecosystem that is distributed among all the different companies. And just this 2% profit pooling results in not a single company going out of business. All 50 thriving after 10 years. Like just 2% profit pooling. Like in a forest. Like in a forest, the mushroom is not a single entity. Of course, it benefits from the oak tree, and at the same time it contributes to the system. So the designing a network of interconnected organizations really takes inspiration from how nature works. And we as humans created those artificial LLCs that are just going by themselves into the world, hoping to succeed, and most of them don't succeed. But of course, in the news we just hear about the Airbnb and the $50 billion valuation and the big success, and everybody goes for the entrepreneurial dream while almost everybody fails. And maybe we can change that by taking inspiration from nature and actually working together. So that's the bigger perspective of Custodia, to build a global ecosystem of places in many different parts of the world where ideas and resources and people can flow freely, and where a more mature place supports one that is starting. And the even bigger perspective that Graham introduced us to is that if you, coming back to this, if you just have 10 Custodia places like this in all parts of the world, and then a pandemic hits and nobody can travel anymore, all 10 of them are still fucked because nobody can come there anymore. So we need a diversity of industries in order to have the most resilient ecosystem. Like 10 Custodias in one ecosystem would be like a forest with 10 oak trees and no other creatures. It's better than one oak tree, but it's still only oak trees. So what is necessary to form the most powerful, the most resilient ecosystem is an ecosystem where many different industries are coming together. For example, how would, in the spirit of custodianship, clothing be made? How would, in the spirit of custodianship, food produced? How would, in the spirit of custodianship, houses be built? Education, all the different industries that are important in order to address the meta crisis, all of them with custodianship at their essence. How can this form one whole organism where resources are shared? Something that doesn't exist yet, that I don't see anywhere. If somebody knows something like this, please tell me. But I think that this results in the most resilient organism that I would bet everything I have on will still be there for the next 30, 50, 100, 200 years. Because it is super diverse, and as a result, almost anti-fragile.
Self-sustaining.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Cover all the necessities, like a village.
Yeah.
A global village.
Yeah. All right. With that, I'll hand it over to David. Do you want to continue?
Of course.
Epic.
Thank you.
Cool.
All right. So let me guide you through Custodia's second phase of building, and we'll make bold steps towards our vision of the Florence of the 21st century, which mean like one really important building block is to focus on the next stage, like building the place in a way that attracts high-level change makers to build the strong core Custodia needs, especially from beginning on. And yeah, having that being said, we need more living space for our companions, temporary containers, and of course for residents. We need more space to live, to create, to enjoy, to recharge. And of course, we need to expand our infrastructure. And moving on with the first category of living space, of course, we're gonna build some more tent platforms on the upper land. First 3 of them we plan to have finished in June. And as you can imagine, we learned a lot over the construction process, and especially over the full-time living experiment of the last month here. So there will be some, how do you say, like things we will make even nicer. Yeah.
But it's already very nice.
But it's already very nice.
I like the tent.
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, it won't be only tent platforms. That's what Robert already shared before. So we're gonna build our first small houses slash cabins to make this, yeah, not the shift, but to really make long-term residency at Custodia not only possible, but really interesting. Yeah. Moving on with the category of space to live. Of course, as you maybe feel right now, it's nice to be like cozy together, but we'll definitely expand that space. So we're build a community outdoor area right there, slash garden. So you can imagine some bamboo platforms that are surrounded by herb beds, by edibles, everything nicely sun and rain protected in a way that doesn't feel like we're putting there a big structure and like closing everything and, you know, like just integrating that nicely. And we plan to have that finished by the beginning of May. That means we'll start building directly after Galungan. Super excited for that. Next one, we need a space that enables us to work with full dedication on our projects. So of course we're gonna build a co-working space on the upper plot. And as we would already appreciate to have one right now, we'll turn one of the first 10 platforms into a temporary co-working space, which is pretty exciting too. And yeah, next up, we need a space to recharge our body and mind. And yeah, after a fully lived day. And as probably most of you know, there's nothing doing the job better than a wood-fired sauna in combination with an ice bath or river plunge after. So you probably can imagine where we will build the sauna, right down there. And for those of you that didn't explore this area already, we're gonna do a river plunge tomorrow morning. So yeah, super excited for that too. Next up, we need a space that can be used universally to host workshops, retreats, gatherings, do movement sessions, and so on. And as we have like on the highest point of the upper plot, we have the most beautiful view over the whole island. So there's no space better suited to build our shala there. In the inner surroundings, there will be multiple chill out areas with hammocks, with seating areas where you can just unwind, take a nap, read a book, and of course there will be a fireplace together too. Last but not least, we're gonna build a very special community kitchen, one that's open, spacious, artistic, equipped with everything you could wish for a really thought through kitchen, and just the perfect place to prepare our famous plant-based mac and cheese for the whole community. Like, this is definitely a running thing here. You definitely have to come back and try it with us together. It's like one of my favorites. Yeah, just to share some words about the infrastructure, of course we need some more pathways and stairs, especially the last meters down into the river, where we're building right now a platform that's directly in the river, which I'm super excited for. Like, can you imagine like doing your morning meditation directly at the river? Like super stunning. Of course, we're gonna build a single shower downstairs, a bathroom including shower and toilets upstairs. We'll extend our parking area. We will diversify our water sources, including the harvesting and storage capacity. And of course, we need our own in-house eco-laundry. Like, that's a very important thing. To make that big rollout of construction phase 2 happen, we're preparing a competition right now for architects and builders that can really identify with Custodia's vision. So if you happen to know somebody that could be interested in applying, you're more than welcome to share that too. Yes, after that, let's move to the question of how to get involved. And there are several ways and options, but the first and most prominent one is our companionship program. And in the beginning, Custodia wants to serve as a second home for Bali-based changemakers. And benefits of our companions are, of course, 24/7 access to the site. They can join events, and about the events I will share in a minute our schedule. They, of course, can stay overnight, bring friends. There's a Telegram group to stay updated about the process, to connect, to share resources, and so on. Of course, they're able to host their own events at Custodia. And one very important point Robert already shared, Custodia isn't a company that's owned by somebody, but it's an entity that's getting stewarded by its stakeholders. And our companions are one of them, directly participating in decision making and benefiting from wealth being created. Yeah, as I told you, I would just want to quickly show you the schedule we have for the next upcoming 2 months. Of course, there will be things added. Most of them are companions only, but of course, we have some open for international application. For example, there's Nexus, which is a container that I'm really looking forward to. We will bring 8 leaders, or let's say highly influential change makers, for 8 days together to this space without any schedule, just letting emerge whatever wants to emerge. Like, super excited for this one. Or for example, there's Build Your Opus that's specially focused on, I would say, impact entrepreneurs and change makers that, to really build their unique next project from the idea crafting, over gaining clarification, over building, of course, launching and scaling in the end too. So yeah, we have 3 different companionship plans, varying in the nights being included free of charge per month. And yeah, having spent the whole day with you, I can really feel that Custodia would benefit from every one of you as a companion. So if you're interested, please just talk to us. Next option, becoming an investor. Our doors, of course, are always open to talk about an investment into Custodia's vision, and I believe that we have the perfect foundation for a value-aligned and performance-oriented investment with our FSC incorporation. And next one would be to become a resident, which is especially exciting with the next phase of construction going on. I can highly recommend this as one of the first residents. It's super nice to live here in the middle of the nature. And yeah, I would hand on to close this presentation to Robert.
Nice, thank you. Just to sum up everything that we talked about, I would say, given all the different details and strategies and values and so on, like in the essence, Custodia likes to ask questions. What if we, in the face of this gain of intelligence that is complemented by artificial intelligence, what if we developed the wisdom that complemented that? What if we let children grow up in a completely different way? What if we treated the planet in a different way? And to explore all these questions that we don't have an answer for, but we sense that they are the questions that matter in the 21st century. If we as a species want to make it thrivingly and beautifully into this next chapter and beyond. And I'm very excited to explore all of these questions that we already started this process today, which was very nourishing and very insightful and very connecting. I love these conversations. Looking forward to more like these in the future. Yes, I think with that, there was a lot of input. We'll stop talking and we would love to hear from you, your responses, your ideas, your feedback, your whatever is present, just throw it in. Yeah. Thank you for listening for now.
Yeah.
It was huge fun talking about all of that. Thank you. Let me give you a hug. That was nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Guys, so super impressive. You know, like what you guys have pulled together, what you've pulled together, the thinking, the quality of planning, the heart of it, all the elements. It was really beautiful, and I really appreciate the encapsulation here in the little glimpse into the future of what's coming next. Beautiful.
How big is the land? How big is the land?
43 are. Yeah. I already shared that at dinner. Like the whole part where we built on right now, all of that is just 20 are. It's quite small, but through the like the two platforms are close to each other, but because the land is so steep, it still feels super private. But of course, for the village of 150 people, we need, I don't know, 20 to 30 hectares.
Yeah.
So we need a lot more space.
Yeah. And of course, even for the next phase of construction, we'll definitely expand our
Yeah.
space.
Would
Yeah.
it be possible to expand borders?
Of course.
Every week we are asked by people in this road if we want to lease more land.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of capital right now.
Already checked.
Yeah, even with this neighbor,
Yes,
this
no.
neighbor, this neighbor, this, everybody wants to lease their land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They see the ashram and then they
So do you know how big the possible land would be that you could like spread?
I try to really do a rough calculation on Google Maps of this, because this little road that we have, that all of you passed to the right, where there are these little, what are they called? Pillars, little pillars on the side of the road, where you turn right. These are really the biggest gifts because they ensure that no big truck can come here. And if no big truck can come here, it's not very interesting for many people who want to build with a lot of concrete and so on. And from down there, where our road, currently the road doesn't have a name. So I'm really gambling for this road being called Jalan Custodia.
Custodia.
This would be so nice. All the way from down there to up there, with the space stretching from the road all the way down until the river and all the way up to the highest part. I did a rough estimate of all that size being around 30, 40, 50 hectares. And of course that's not the limit. Technically you could grow to this side as well, because what is really interesting, up the hill, our land goes all the way up the hill and then it goes down the hill again to another river, and all this land has no road access right now. So it's not nobody can use it. But of course if you have the road access here and you connect stairs all the way up, or maybe in the future even like a zip line or whatever for people who don't want to walk all these stairs, there's a lot more space there. So I feel it's enough. It's a lot of space, and technically not all the different parts of Custodia need to be directly connected, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If it's just like, I don't know, the parallel road, or over there is something, and it's more like a whole ecosystem, I think that's super nice as well. And at the same time, we feel this pressure of like, if we wait with that for 10 years, there will be a lot going on here, and I think something like that will not be possible anymore. So there's this desire to be patient and to take time and to really do the right thing, and at the same time this feeling of, but let's really move quick. Yeah,
It's this pressure to protect.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
we don't see what's big
Yeah.
yeah,
then.
yeah.
So we want
Not everybody will use screw foundations. Of course, an area like this will not be like Canggu, where the next beach club or the next, I don't know, party destination will be built, because like it's cold. There's no beach. It rains a lot, and like the ordinary travelers are not attracted. And still, I think most people will not. Be custodians caring for the land as we aim to be.
At the moment there's
a lot
still
of-
a green zone here, and because like it's very pristine, the area around here, also with the rice terrace. It's very protected, I would say. It's not like you can just go there and build
Yeah, that's what I wanted
concrete.
to add.
Yeah, so I think
There are definitely regulations in place.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
cannot
yeah.
be the next Django.
The two requirements that we were able to do this is first, we could not buy the land, we could only lease it. We leased it for 80 years, and only semi-permanent buildings. So nothing with a proper concrete foundation, only like tents, cabins, something like that. Is the only thing that is allowed, and
Small houses.
and which is
Shalas.
exactly what we want to do. Yeah, as long as we don't seal like
Stuff we showed you.
out of concrete. Yeah. Yes.
I think
80.
80.
Yeah. Yeah. Until the year 2104. I will be 114 by then. That was crazy, yeah. Even Leo will be
You will
Leo-
be an elder.
Leo will be almost the same age as grandma is right now when the land lease ends. And then he will be sitting here like we are sitting here. Let's see. Yeah, Rafa, you wanted to share?
There's a lot of things going on in my mind. Sometimes I think it's a beautiful project. I really feel the heart that you are putting into that project, and your best intention and very thoughtful about anything. So I'm just so sure that this will be just such a beautiful impact, powerful impact on the world, on people. Just putting this out and being brave enough to do this is such an immense step, like which will inspires me a lot to think about, like, because we also have our project, like how we want to build it and how we can actually cooperate, because this was actually what we all was talking about with what's your name again? Huh? Eddie? Yeah, Annie, and so that we also think of, because there's some people that already have also land here in Bali, and we all have like kind of intention to actually be custodians and making something better, and how we can actually really start to join forces and really like you still to explain, like with I saw that was very explaining with the different companies, like if everybody's just doing and then they fail, but how can we actually all together join forces and create something together where we can feed each other and nurture each other, and actually being also more powerful because we have voices together. Then we can raise the voices and it will be more like a roar, and it will be more loud, that actually people will see, okay, this is something I either want to change or we have to change this, and especially in Bali, because I think Bali is also so close to your heart as is it to us, and it's also painful if you see like Django or the Watu areas that have been destroyed, so if there's like a huge trash floods in the ocean and everything. So I think we can start trying to really protect Bali and making Bali a good example all together, and then from there maybe Bali can be an example for, so yeah, like not only this place but like generally, like that we are all like thinkers and want to change and create something together. I think this is something very interesting and very
Let me touch on that briefly. I think already Bali is one of the hotspots of custodianship, like consciousness-wise and project-wise. And I feel that there's an opportunity to even expand on that, and to have like every major person in the world when they are traveling, every major person who are trying to be a custodian and building great things. No, once a year, I come to Bali, because this is where all the heart-driven innovation is taking place. I think there's a huge potential already.
It still also has a lot of problems still that need to be solved. I think, like this landfills, and the trash,
Corruption. Yeah, of course. It's a big.
Pollution. Like we're living in Medevi, and what is like, it's a beautiful land. The ocean is very beautiful. There's so much nature also, but then there's like one road. It's the road coming from Java and Sulawesi, actually connecting that to and bringing everything.
Well,
to,
the trucks are.
there's the trucks, and it's like cool. It's like something. And like I said, we came here, and then our faces were from
This road is crazy.
the things, and I mean, there's like big changes also needed. We can also think about how we can maybe influence it by maybe, like, if we gather enough people also, like can really go to the government and try to convince, okay, this is like actually what the Bali people want for that island, that it stays as beautiful. But I'm not totally on the side. Like, Bali has this potential. I guess it's like multi international people are coming here, searching for spirituality, for innovation, for change making. Definitely. Thank you.
Do you have a local community that will be involved in it? Is there a local community that will be involved, or there is not much local community?
You mean like into Custodia?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. That's what when I listed all the different stakeholder groups. It's very important that for the Jatiluwih village, it's not a bunch of Westerners are coming and they buying up all the land and having a nice life here, but that actually gives back into the village. For like, this is what we're currently figuring out in our consulting process with Graham, that actually a fraction of the surplus goes into the local village, and that's what we're trying to figure out. Ideally, not in the pockets of somebody, but actually benefits the village in general, that's next week, as part of our opening, we will do a gathering of local people here, and people who were involved in the process and who made all of that happen and so on, and really open a discussion about how Custodia can be of maximum value to the village that we are in. That's very important. Yeah.
Very important stakeholder group. Like, we definitely will not be a project like coming from like Westerners coming here, exploiting the land, and giving no share to the locals, like, and not involving them. But we see like full involvement, like, in the local communities. Yeah.
And wisdom.
Of course. Of course. Yeah.
How does that 2% work in that slide from Graham with the 2% between the companies? Can you help me understand how that 2%, what that in that case means?
2% profit pooling.
So they pool into, everyone puts 2% into a pool, and what's that pool used for?
Yes. 2% into a pool that gets distributed equally among all the parties.
Okay. And then equally amongst all the companies?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think and it shows like 2% is not a lot. What if, and that's what we are trying to figure out right now as well with the whole setup and so on. Imagine like all the revenue of different places going into one bank account to make it simple, and then to see like, okay, how's this place going? How's this place going? What do they need? Okay, we are good for now. We earned a lot of money because we attracted a lot of people, but actually infrastructure is super nice. Okay, all the money goes to this place because they are currently building crazily expensive Ulin, what's theirs or whatever they need to do, and then 6 months later, differently. Revenue from there goes here. I think that's really at the core of the ecosystem idea. Like, even like I have a friend who does that on a private level with friends, like 5 friends together, and their whole like private money is in one bank account, and it's an exercise in trust as well, and at the same time it's super beautiful because, oh shit, my car broke down, and last month I didn't get as many clients. Okay, I just take from the shared money pool. As long as everybody approaches that from a place of custodianship and not exploits that, it has incredible impact. Yeah.
I love how much emphasis you have on the model, and not only the model like shareholding here and then Fresh as common style project, but also how that interacts with other custodial locations over time. And yeah, it's a topic I'm very passionate about. Models for true collaboration, true thriving between different villages, and would love to talk more about that and figure out if I can support you guys in any way in that too.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you.
would love to have everything that you bring to the table flow into here as well. Yeah, super looking forward to explore it more. I find it is an incredibly fascinating topic because, as we already saw today, the system that we are in has a profound impact on the individual behavior. And if we create a different system in which companies are, probably they behave completely differently compared to companies nowadays. Yeah. It's like the topic of ontological design, not for places and people inside them, but for systems and companies inside them.
Yeah. And companies and any project or innovation that's trying to support a thriving Earth is not trying to compete with another to reach the thriving Earth faster. They want to reach it together. You can only reach it together. And so when we're in a paradigm of, okay, let's get that together, the questions and the priorities start to change. And we need models and ways of organizing and distributing value that can reflect that way of functioning, where the more we collaborate effectively, the faster we go.
Yeah. And at the same time, I think it's very important that one part of the system that is actually beyond its lifetime doesn't get carried through by the whole ecosystem, because we all need to make it together. If something is, like in life, if something needs to, let's look into the forest. There's always death and life at the same time. So create an ecosystem, not to drag everybody through, but to together sense make, oh wow, this organization is actually not needed anymore. Okay, it can just go. And the people don't lose their job, but actually they can flow into another pocket of the ecosystem. And and through that, it's not like, okay, we need this company alive because we need to preserve our jobs, but actually, oh wow, my energy and my capacity is better invested in this part of the ecosystem. Good, let's go there.
It's what happens when we shift from profits to value. We need to focus on where the value is created and needed.
Yeah. And there comes the permaculture-inspired lens of multi-capitals. We didn't talk about that today, but not just measure financial capital in a company and try to make more out of less, but look at natural capital and look at human capital and look at social capital. Like, does the organization contribute to people thriving more than when the company wouldn't have existed? Does the natural ecosystem thrive more, and so on? And really think about an organization contributing on all into all bank accounts of all capitals, so to say. Thank you for your words.
Thank you.
And thank you guys. This was really inspiring. I've been involved or playing with community and this topic for a very long time. And I've seen many projects, but this one I think is really one of the most holistic one, and it starts at the very grassroots with a small space of just doing and connecting, and that's, I think, is the right approach, and a lot can come out of it. I'm really excited to see where it can go. And it's the right time, the right place, and has a big potential. Looking forward to participating more. How many people are involved there now? How many people are involved now? Is it just the two of you mainly?
Like it depends. It depends through which lens. Like all of you are involved. Like the local people are involved, of course. Like the two of us, we would say, founded like Custodia, and at the same time, oh Schnecklein, oh Schnecklein.
Nichts passiert.
Kuchen, yeah. Leo says it. He wants cake, and that's exactly what we will do next. We will have cake. Ja.
Right now for the question.
Ja. Ja, wir machen jetzt Kuchen. Wir machen jetzt gleich den Kühlschrank auf und dann machen wir Kuchen. Jetzt? Okay. Jetzt direkt?
Ja.
Okay. Some words about the... Ja, wir machen jetzt. Ich sage jetzt einmal, was als nächstes passiert, dann machen wir den Kuchen auf. We will have a little dessert now, and then afterwards we will gather downstairs for a little musical experience hosted by Raphael and Lisa, which I'm very looking forward. And then afterwards, I have. It will be very relaxed, very just being together, and then afterwards we will fade into the night. Yeah, maybe we continue the conversation over tiramisu. What do you think about that? Yes. Kuchen. Okay. Kuchen. Okay. Thank you all for listening, for contributing. It was a lot of fun. Looking forward to continue. Wir machen jetzt Kuchen, oder?
Ja, mit
Okay.
Papa.
Okay. Let's do cake. Somebody decided.
Ja, ganz viele Kuchen.
Guck mal, wir haben hier ganz viel Kuchen.